Hello everyone, welcome once again to Fido's Music Hall. In our last lecture, we talked about introduction to music and instrumentation, where we went to understanding how the notes we sing were developed and how they were brought into use. So today we'll be talking about key signatures. Now, before we talk about key signatures, what is a key? A key is seen as the degree of highness or lowness of a sound of a pitch. How high a sound is or how low a sound is known as a key. So, how many keys do we have in music? In our last class, we talked about 12 notes. We had 7 natural notes and 5 accidental notes. Now, similarly, we also have 12 musical keys or 12 keys in music. 7 are naturals, 5 are accidental. So, this is one of the similarities between Solfa notation and musical keys, or Solfa notes and musical keys. So, from these 12 keys, we say 7 naturals, 5 are accidentals. Now, these 7 natural keys are represented using the first 7 letters of the English alphabet, and they are always written in uppercase, capital letters. So now these letters are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First 7 letters of the English alphabet. Now, musically, C is the lowest key and D is the highest key. So, we are arranging them. You have this C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. So C becomes the first and B becomes the last, the lowest key and the highest key. So these are the 7 key signatures used to represent the 7 natural keys. Okay. Having known that C, D, E, F, G, A, B are the 7 natural keys. In the first class, you recall that we talked about the sounds produced by these notes increasing from left to right. Since music talks about sound, music produces sound. This also produces sounds. The sound produced by these keys also increase from left to right. Now, what is the interval by which they increase? We said from do to re was a tone in our last topic. From C to D is also a tone. We said from re to mi is a tone. From D to E is also a tone. From mi to fa is a semitone. E to F is a semitone. Fa to sol is a tone. F to G is a tone. Sol to la is a tone. G to A is a tone. La to T is a tone. A to B is a tone. And we said that since this number of notes cannot cover the voice range of a normal human being or any instrument, we needed to repeat the notes, and we repeated the notes. Now we said, what was the relationship between these two sections? It was the space between these two notes. Now, what's the distance between these two notes? The semitone. So when we repeat this, also this way, This space also has a relationship, and that is the semitone. And like we said, a tone, which is T as written here, equals two semitones. So each of these tones has two semitones embedded in them. What is the semitone that we said? Semitone is a half tone. So if we move half this distance, we are going to fall in between C and D, because a tone is the distance between C and D, but half that distance should be between C and D. Same applies for D to E, F to G, G to A to B, because they all have tonal distances between them. And also said, since a semitone from C falls in between here, it then means something exists at that point where the semitone falls. Because if a semitone from E falls on F, that means things also exist, or keys also exist, or sounds also exist at semitonal travels. Sound also exists as semitonal travels from whichever key of choice. So that means there's also a key here, also a key here, also a key here, also a key here, also a key here. Just like we did in our last class. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 in number. It then means these are our 5 accidental keys we talked about, because we said there are 12 musical keys. 5 are accidentals and 7 are naturals. 5 plus 7, 12. So, like we said in our last class, this principle of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone is by far the most important principle you can think of when it comes to understanding music and musical theories. So, if you want to understand any instrument or any musical theory, want to play any musical instrument very well, you have, or you need to have a good understanding of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now, like we said, a tone consists of 2 semitones, meaning 1 semitone plus 1 semitone, that is 2, will lead us from C to D, as we have seen illustrated here. Just like a tone leads us from C to D, 2 semitones have led us from C to D. Now, 1 semitone, like we said, falls in between C and D, and the second one takes us from that middle to D. As we have established, accidental keys exist here because of the fact that semitone ends there. Another one exists here, another exists here, here, and here. So we have 1 accidental key, 2 accidental key, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, how did we derive the accidental notes in our last class? We derived those notes by sharpening. And flattening natural notes. Now in this case, we are going to be sharpening and flattening natural keys to derive our accidental keys. And what is sharpening? I said in our last class. Sharpening means to increase. Sharpening means to increase the sound of a note or a key, or the pitch of a note or a key by a semitone, and flattening means to decrease by a semitone, all by a semitone, that's a half tone. So now, sharpening C by a semitone, take us a semitone in front, which is here. So now we have derived one of the accidental keys by sharpening key C, by increasing the sound of key C by a semitone. Now, how do we derive the name of that key we just derived? Because we derive the key and derive the name. In our last class, we derived the sharp of do by adding E to it. We derive an accidental key or accidental note from re by adding E to it. In this case, you write the key you used in deriving accidental key, and you're going to add this symbol. This symbol is known as the sharp symbol. You add it at the top right corner of that key to get the name of the key you just derived. So if you sharpen key C, you have C sharp. It's called a sharp. So when you sharpen, you add a sharp. When you flatten, you add a flat. There's another way to get to this key. If you move from D backward, that is flattening, because sharpening is increasing, flattening is decreasing. Let me say it again. I said it in our last class. The sounds produced by these keys increase from this way to this way, because this is the lowest key and this is the highest key. So it increases from this way to this way. So if I move from this way to this way, you are sharpening, you are increasing. From this way to this way, you are flattening or you are decreasing. So moving from D this way, you are flattening, and flattening is always by a semitone, and this ends here. So you write the name of the key you just flattened, and since you flattened it, you add this symbol, the flat symbol. It is not small letter B. The base is somehow pointed. So this is the flat symbol, this is the sharp symbol. So you add the flat symbol to that key to get the name of the key you just derived. So at this point, this key has two names, just like we had two names for accidental notes in our last class. This key has two names: C sharp, because we derived it by sharpening key C, and D flat, because we derived it by flattening key D. The next accidental key is this. When you sharpen key D, this is the end point. Because you sharpen, you add a sharp symbol at the top right corner. You flatten key E, this is the end point, and you add the flat symbol at the top right corner. This becomes F sharp, and this becomes G behind G flat. So backward is flat, forward is sharp. This becomes G sharp, because you sharpened key G, and it becomes A flat. It becomes A sharp because you sharpen key A, and it becomes B flat. because you flattened E. So in summary, like we said, there are 12 musical keys divided into two, naturals and accidentals. And the 7 natural keys are represented by the first 7 letters of the English alphabet, which are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And since key C is the lowest key and key B is the highest key, they are now arranged in this order: C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Now, the other 5 remaining keys, which are the accidental keys, are derived from the natural keys by sharpening and flattening. Now, when you sharpen key C, you have C sharp. You flatten key D, you have D flat. And now, key C and D flat, key C sharp and key D flat are the same because they have the same endpoint. When you sharpen key C and you flatten key D, they end on the same place. So key C sharp and key D flat are the same. They are just two names of the same key. Likewise, when you sharpen key D and flatten key E, you have D sharp and E flat, all the same key but with two names. When you sharpen key F, you will have F sharp and G flat. When you sharpen key when you flatten key G and sharpen key F, you will have key F sharp and key G flat. When you sharpen key G and flatten key A, the endpoint is the same, leading us to G sharp and A flat. When you sharpen key A and flatten key B, the endpoint is the same, leading us to A sharp and B flat. So, like we said in our last class, wherever you see any key or any note having two names, that phenomenon is known as enharmonics. So we have succeeded in studying the 12 musical keys we have. Our first topic, we talked about musical notes, how they were derived, how to derive accidentals from naturals. Now this topic, we have talked about musical keys, naturals and accidentals, and how we can derive the accidentals from the natural keys. I believe we understand. If there's any issue or anywhere you don't understand, you can ask your questions in the comment section or after the class. Thank you.